Once there was a beggar who lived at a railway station in a city. He would beg for money from the passengers traveling on the trains to feed himself. One day, while he was asking for money, he saw a tall man dressed in a suit. The beggar thought to himself, "This man looks wealthy. He might give me a good sum of money." So he approached the tall man to ask for money. The tall man, seeing the beggar, said, "You always ask for something. Don't you ever give anything to anyone?" The beggar replied, "Sir, I am a beggar. I can only beg. I don't have the means to give anything to anyone." The tall man responded, "If you cannot give anything, then you have no right to ask for anything. I am a businessman, and I believe in exchange. I can offer you something only if you are able to give me something in return." After saying this, the tall man boarded the train and left. The beggar was left thinking about the tall man's words. His remark had deeply impacted him. The beggar wondered, "Perhaps I don't receive much because I don't give anything in return, but I am a beggar. How can I give anything?" For the next 2 days, he pondered over this question, yet he couldn't find an answer. On the third day, while sitting at the station, his eyes fell on the flowers growing around the area. He thought, "Why not give flowers in return for the money I receive?" He liked the idea and plucked some flowers from the plants. From that day onward, whenever anyone gave him money, he would offer them a flower in return. The people, happy with the gesture, kept the flowers. Soon, the beggar noticed that more people started giving him money. As long as he had flowers to offer, people would give him money. But once the flowers ran out, he wouldn't receive anything. This continued for some time. One day, while begging again, the beggar saw the same tall man traveling in a train. This was the man who had inspired him to give something in return for the money he received. The beggar immediately approached him and said, "Today, I have some flowers for you. If you give me some money, I will give you a flower in return." The tall man, pleased with the gesture, gave him some money, and the beggar handed him a flower. The tall man smiled and said, "Amazing. You've turned into a businessman just like me." The beggar was deeply moved by the man's words. His eyes sparkled with excitement, and he realized that he had found the key to his success. He looked up to the sky and exclaimed joyfully, "I am not a beggar. I am a businessman. I can become wealthy." People who saw him thought he had gone mad, but the next day the beggar was nowhere to be found at the station. 6 months later, 2 businessmen in suits were traveling together in the same train. When they saw each other, one said, "Do you recognize me?" The other replied, "No, I think this is our first meeting." The first man smiled and said, "No, we've met before. In fact, we've met twice before. I am the beggar you once encountered." The second man, now recalling, said, "Oh yes, you are the same beggar I turned away the first time. The second time, I bought flowers from you. But what are you doing dressed like this? Where are you headed?" The first man replied, "Yes, I am the same beggar, but now I am a flower trader. I am traveling to another city for business." The second man, astonished, asked, "That's incredible. How did this transformation happen?" The first man smiled and said, "After our second meeting, I understood the principle of exchange you had taught me. I realized that people were not simply giving me money. They were buying my flowers. I began to think of myself as a small trader, and I started selling flowers. With the money I earned, I bought more flowers and grew my business. People in this city love flowers, and it helped my business thrive. Today, I am a successful flower trader." The 2 businessmen, pleased for each other, got off the train and continued their conversation, discussing their businesses. This story teaches us an important lesson. The tall man understood the concept of give and take very well, and it is this principle that drives the success of all great businessmen. The beggar adopted this principle, and it changed his life. By changing his mindset, his life transformed completely. The moral of the story is that success lies in our thoughts. If we continue to think small, we will remain small. To grow and achieve greatness, we need to expand our thinking and see ourselves as capable of much more. Success begins with a shift in mindset. When we start to believe in ourselves and our potential, we open the door to success.